My first question will be for Canada Post, Ms. Séguin and Ms. Walker. Ms. Walker, you talked about value for money, which means getting your money's worth, as you know. As you know, when the Prime Minister formed his new cabinet, he named a new Minister of Procurement, and one of the first issues dealt with was Post Canada, with a particularly critical eye. We understand that under Liberal management, they closed their eyes to this. But today, suddenly, they're saying, oh, people have to get value for money. But for years, they closed their eyes to what was going on. Ms. Walker, can you explain to us how it is that over the last 10 years, Canada Post Corporation accumulated a deficit of $5 billion? And at this time, if I believe what the minister said, you're losing $10 million a day? Thank you for the question. In French, I'll be answering in English because it's easier for me.
The Post very much so welcomed the announcement by the government and in our current situation. Yes, over the period of time where these contracts were being reviewed, Canada Post has been in a financial situation with the erosion of letter mail since 2006. And our financial situation as a result from COVID and the loss of the parcel business with new players coming into the market. With the new announcement, we very much so welcome that. We put forward our transformation plan regarding the need to, the changes that we need to make to be able to be solvent. Our goal is always to find revenue that comes from the products that we deliver and not from the public. And we are hoping that this plan can get us there.
La COVID peut avoir le dos large dans bien des situations.
Well, COVID can take the blame for a lot of situations, but quite frankly, in this case, the world has changed completely in terms of the way in which things are being delivered. I think you're better placed to know this than anybody. All the people listening to us deal with private distributors, whereas before there was no question asked. People turned immediately to Canada Post. Personally, I'm a big fan of the post office. I like the post office, and I'm very well served in my writing. I'm saying that frankly. Just because I have a sorting center in my area, but I'm well served. But as a manager and as a member of Parliament and as a Canadian taxpayer, to see that we have lost $5 billion, and at this time we're talking about $10 million in losses every single day, this is not something to be happy about, and I'm sure you agree with me. Now, when you gave contracts to McKinsey, didn't you ask them how we could have some completely new approach? Because that could have been an interesting conversation. We're dealing with a new world here right now versus what the world was like 10 years ago. And for 10 years, not only has little been done constructively, because this led to a $5 billion deficit and $10 million in losses every day, didn't McKinsey help you about that?
Requirements for procurement, including our consulting requirements. We are looking at the services that we need to help inform our current situation. At the time when, sorry, so apologies for that. I'll get my train of thought back. So again, when we have requirements, especially when we deal with consulting requirements, we have a need, and we look at that need on a case-by-case basis. At the time, Canada Post, yes, was in a position where we were losing money, and we are continuing to. And now we have put forward that plan to help us get out of that. The consulting service that was a requirement to look outside of the expertise that we had in-house to help inform on a more global scale how we can come out of those services, how we could come out of the current situation that we're in.
That's fine. I'll move on to Ms. Walker. With regards to Canada Post and adoption of, how much do you know, from adopting McKinsey's recommendations, did they actually save going forward for Canada Post?
At the time when we were doing the studies with McKinsey, it was really to look at how we can generate revenue for our current situation, which continues to be in a place now where we're still losing money. So we are in a position now to put forward those recommendations. And also, they were enhancing internal decisions that Canada Post themselves were making. They provided insight, but at the end of the day, it is our teams that are putting forward the plans that were just released to the government.
Did Canada Post have some mitigation with regards to the conflicts that Mackenzie might have with simultaneously advising their global competitors such as Amazon and UPS? Did they take into any consideration that that might not always be the same recommendations from either side?
So again, at the time of this, the time that we were doing work with Mackenzie, Canada Post was looking at various ways. Since that time, letter mail continued to decline. The market did change considerably post-COVID with new entrants. And so that information, as subject matter experts in those very strategic, specific needs, was taken into consideration and then enhanced with our own internal knowledge and understanding of the current market.
How much time do I have? One left. I'll probably just cede my time because I won't be able to get through that.
I will take you up on that later on. Okay, thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Well, you've got a minute. You have another. You're all right here. Thank you very much.